Hello, I'm Peggy O'Neill. Welcome to today's live. Today we're talking about, sorry, getting to my notes, moving beyond concepts to experience reality. Moving beyond concepts to experience reality. So, again, I'm Peggy O'Neill. Welcome to these conversations. I start them in the Facebook group Answering the Call. And the call means this longing, this sense of there must be something more to life. Who am I? What's my life about? What am I here to express, to do? And so all of our conversations and these videos are related to that. How do I open myself to who I am, to how to express who I truly am in this lifetime? So today we're going to focus specifically on how to move beyond concepts to experience reality. And you're going to learn how we became desensitized to reality. We're actually desensitized to reality. We're going to discover how to open to more sensory experience. We want to be able to experience senses and be more sensitive, not emotionally sensitive, although for a lot of us that wouldn't hurt, me included, but to be more, for our senses to be more alive. And then we'll go through an exercise, an experiential exercise, to give you the opportunity to expand your sensory experience. So when I talk about concepts and reality, what I mean is that when we're very young, early on, we learn names for things like lamp, couch, mom, dad, tree, and those. And so before too long, the experience of mom, dad, tree, cat, dog, bird, plane, the experience becomes the word substitutes for the experience. So as you work with this, you'll see what I mean. That when we think of plane, some image comes to mind, but do we really have an experience of an airplane? Same thing with cat. Say the word cat, okay, image comes to mind, but do I have an experience of cat? Probably not. Even if the cat's in the room, because we've used the label so often, there's my cat, or whatever the cat's name is, purr. and and we don't experience the cat, the seeing, the smell, maybe, even though the cat's feet away, the other sensory experiences that before we had a name for any of these items, there was an experience of them. So how did we get so desensitized that we're really living in a world of concepts, not reality? That we're so detached from our experience, true experience of life. So how did that happen? Because as we grew up and in our education, I always want to emphasize nobody did anything wrong. Everybody's done the best they knew how to do with their own understanding, conditioning, and so on. Oh, sorry, got to pause for a minute, see if we have anybody here live. And if you are, please say hi. If you have any questions or comments, let me know. I'll answer them. And if you're watching this on replay, please put hashtag replay in the comments. And then if you have questions, comments, I'll come back to them later. All right. Doesn't look like we have anybody saying hi right now anyway. Okay. So when we were young, we were constantly told these sorts of things. Pay attention. Listen when I talk to you. Look at me when I speak to you. Concentrate. Make an effort. Sit up straight. What else? What else comes to mind like that? So when somebody issues those demands to us, they're counter to our natural ability to be in a state of sensory reactiveness. So what happens is we just internally, we don't think this through, but what happens is that we come to believe that we have to do something to see, to sit up straight, to hear, to feel, to taste, to stuff, instead of just naturally engaging in these things, listening and so on. So there just becomes this belief, I've got to do something to listen. In fact, there are so many courses out there how to listen. Listening is natural. We've just unlearned it. So and so when we have then so when even, like I said, this unconscious thing that we're bringing to the light now, this unconscious tendency that there has to be some effort, disturbs us being able to really fully experience sound, sight, the other person, whatever it is, because there's this underlying sense got to do something first that disconnects us. And so we're also then in the state of constant efforting, when effort is completely unnecessary. So, for example, we've been trained to think we have to do thinking. I need to think about this now, instead of allowing thinking. So this can seem really, yeah, well, of course I've got to remind myself to think. Well, no. If you pay attention, you'll notice thoughts just come to us. So, and one thing to be aware of too is we're so accustomed in our culture to focus on seeing. There's a lot of seeing. Look over here. Of course, then we look at our computers. Look all the time. So a lot of our other senses have been put more and more and more into the background. So we want to be aware of that. Oh yeah, I'm not as sensitive to touch, taste, feel, hearing, because we're so focused on seeing. So we can start bringing our other senses alive. Alan Watts said, there is too little recognition of the vast difference between the world as described, and I'll add taught, and the world as sensed. So we want to discover how to be more. So we're going to talk about how to be open to more sensory. Sorry, saying that all wrong. So part of what I said we're going to do today is discover how to open to more sensory experience. That's what we're going to do right now. How to open to more sensory experience. I'm going to explain the how-to, and then we'll go through an exercise. So one thing you can do is become aware of vibrations of life, as we do when we experience music. So we might be in a room with music and the speakers are on really loud. We can feel the vibration of the music. Well, all of life is vibrating. So becoming aware of the vibrations of life, and this can take some real attention, real being still. And yet the value of being more sensitive to life is then we're going to be able to hear messages from the universe, messages really from ourselves to ourselves. What's trying to come to us? Now, this may be too much information, but I just had this incredible insight just in the last week. So usually I use my towels for 3 days, and then I replace them with clean towels. Okay, so a couple days ago, I had this sense that today's the day to replace the towel. Just this sense, and then my thoughts came in and said, no, today's not the day to replace the towel because this is Wednesday and you did the wash on Sunday, so it hasn't been today's the 3rd day, so not today, you'll replace them tomorrow. So I listened to the thoughts, and then later I realized, oh wait, no, I washed on Saturday this past week. And so that knowing knew that, but I ignored the knowing and then I because I'm so, as we all are, so conditioned to think our thinking knows, that I paid attention to my thinking. Of course, no big deal, it's just towels. But it was so powerful for me to realize how, yeah, I've been so conditioned to override this intuitive sensing that knew the schedule I like to keep with regard to clean towels. So that's what I'm talking about here. And so it's paying more attention so that we're open to that knowledge, that wisdom. Not about towels, but in life in general, that's what's available. And knowing that really everything that happens in our lives is sacred, whether we acknowledge it is, or we believe it is, or we think it'll lead to something or not. We just don't know. So everything really is, all of life is sacred. And as we learn how to live more and more as who we truly are, then it becomes more and more real, what I just said. So the way to know what answers or what guidance source has for us is to be more sensitive. And so as we do that, we become more aware in general of something along the lines of this. So if you ate a piece of chocolate cake that had too much salt in it, you go, oh, that's too much salt. How do we know that? Because we know our taste buds, what we like, what tastes good for us. That's what I'm talking about here. The more we engage our senses, we pay attention to our senses, then the more we're going to be able to live life that way. Oh, that's too salty for me. No, that's not for me. That is for me. So again, that's the value of what we're talking about today. All right. So I'm seeing what I want to say next. But we've been thoroughly educated not to listen to it. Like I said, I didn't listen to it earlier in the week. It was so incredible to recognize that one more time. So what do? We bring curiosity, discovery. We want to discover. We want to be in that way in relationship to the world. Be open. Stay open. So you could put post-it notes around to remind yourself to stay open, curious, sensitive. And we also want to be longing for more depth. Be in that more intimate with life, to be more in depth with life instead of this more superficial concept, kind of detached relationship with life. Okay, so now we're going to go into an experience. Well, I'll see if there are any questions or comments before we go into the experiential exercise. Okay, none so far. All right, so here's the experiential exercise to support us in moving beyond concepts so that we're experiencing reality, or the aliveness Joseph Campbell says that we're really all seeking, that we want to experience more aliveness. So right now I'm going to encourage you just to breathe naturally. Don't change anything, just breathe naturally in and out. And just know that way of breathing naturally is yours. It's totally unique. No one else breathes the way that you breathe. So noticing your breath, acknowledging, noticing it. Oh, this is the way this body-mind breathes. It's unique. Notice your heart beating in your chest. Unless it's beating rapidly, it might be hard for you to notice. Right now I'm really focusing to notice my heart beating in my chest. We're so, again, detached from that. Which, of course, most of the time during the day, it's a good thing that you're not noticing your heart beating. But to practice being more sensitive, this is something you can do. Pause and notice your heart beating. Why? Because that's that curiosity to develop, that being present to what is developing. Feel the feet on the floor. Feel your feet on the floor. Move your feet back and forth on the floor. Notice the sensations of that. What's that like? All the movement of your legs, your whole body moves to do that. If your feet are barefoot, notice the sensitivity of that. Now I'm going to say this and I'm going to be quiet. Notice the sound. Hear the sound in your ears, and the sound that you hear is your own unique sound, your own unique song. So hear the sound in your ears. That's uniquely you. Notice the smell. Can you notice any smell? We become so desensitized that we don't notice everything, that there's a smell all the time of some sort. Can you smell something? Maybe if something's cooking in the room next to you, smell that. Touch the tabletop gently. Move your fingers around on the top of the table. Feel that. Notice that. Maybe run your finger along the edge of the table, where the corner is. Feel that. Move your fingers around on the table and the edges. Experience the air around you. Actually, the air is moving. Can you notice it brushing against your cheeks? Move your body side to side. Notice the space in which you move. What kind of movement's natural for you? And that's all I'll do for the experiential. You can replay this, take notes, keep expanding, but I'll give you some other things that you can do. Is that you can let your eyes wander around the room until something catches your attention. Let it catch your attention, so to speak. And then just and notice that for whatever reason, that's what caught your attention right now. We don't know the reason, but in this moment, that's what caught your attention. It's interesting to you. It appeals to you in some way. So you can look at it very carefully. Notice the shape, the color, the texture. Look at it really closely. Notice all of that. You can let your eyes look at it as if your eyes were your fingers. What does that feel like from a distance? Can you sense it? Can you sense the texture? Feel it in your body without touching anything. So immerse yourself in the seeing of this item. Notice the dimensions of it. The unique sense knowing that is shared with that thing. You're experiencing the expression of that thing. Notice as you do that you're moving out of the analytical thinking, out of focusing on thinking per se, out of the what we call the brain, but thoughts don't come from the brain, but we're moving into a different kind of cognition, one that's interwoven intimately with feeling. So for this exercise, there are 3 steps. The first is seeing, really looking at what is right in front of you. The second is asking, how does it feel? And the third is to practice, practice, practice. Just keep coming back to this, keep coming back to this. You can ask, how does this restaurant feel? How does this street feel? How does this pencil feel? This tree, this person, and so on. Okay, so that is what I encourage you to do and to keep up with. And as you do this more and more regularly, again, your senses will be just to life. You'll feel more alive. You'll be more available for what the universe is bringing to you and offering to you. The guidance, the insights, the knowing. Like I just knew the towels are ready to be changed. My thoughts said no. Okay, but my knowing knew. That's what's possible in life, is that we live with that knowing, but we want to be, but we've got to be sensitive to it to be able to do that. All right. So today you learned learned how we became so desensitized to reality, discovered how to open to more sensory experience, and then we went through an experiential exercise that you can come back to over and over and over again to support you to expand this ability to live in reality and to expand your ability to sense into reality, so the sensing becomes a regular part of your life. And the novelty of life will continue to increase. It'll open up new channels of listening and possibility for your life and for other people's lives. And then one last thing I'll leave you with is that when you get up to walk, or next time you walk, notice your walk and invite yourself to walk as it wants to walk. All right. Great being with you today. I look forward to next time. Enjoy. Bye.